Welcome to our podcast, designed for psychologists, therapists, and counselors who want to take their business online and live a soul-nourished and profitable life without compromise. If you want to know the secrets used by practitioners just like you to navigate the global e-learning market successfully, then you're in the right place. I'm Dr. Tilean, chartered psychologist, business mentor, and your host, and welcome to the Abundant Practitioner Podcast. Website versus web presence, right? So today's topic, we're talking about website versus web presence, right? And I share this because immediately when people start thinking about having their own business, right, they think, I need a website. Right? That's often the most common thing, right, that people think of is website and business plan, right? And both of those things are not necessarily going to be the needle movers if they want to really move their business forward, right? In order to have your business moving forward, it comes back to those 4 principles that I always talk about, is be mission led. So who are you here to help? How are you here to help them? And what's the outcome you're here to help them with, right? Just get clear on that first and foremost, right? And start moving. Like, don't stay stagnant on that step. So get really, really clear on that and start moving, right? Next step is to be findable, right? And to be findable. Now, when you hear be findable, sometimes the mind goes, well, if I want to be findable, then I need to have a website, right? But a website that has no traffic, meaning people coming to see the website, right? You're not diverting people traffic, visibility to the website is just another web page in the grand world of the wwws, right? Yeah. And so, you know, it's being findable is about getting it in front of what the marketing terminology is, traffic, right? It's being in front of traffic, being in front of your audience, being in front of people, yeah, the right people, right? And so either you take yourself to the right people or you bring the right people to you, right? You know, recently our client, Dr. Kim here, has just brought the right people to her, right? Yeah, you know, like you really brought those people into the event, right? They come in there, they're surrounding, getting the information. So you have to, first step, be findable with people. Right? Be findable with people. Either you take yourself to the people or you bring the people to you. Right? So that's what be findable means. And be findable cannot just mean posting on social media. Right? Being findable cannot mean just putting up a website. Be findable cannot mean like just doing something that is just static. Like, you know, it's just there in front of the people that know you're there, right? Being findable means being findable to those that know you're already there and findable to new people that don't know you're there. And that's where the whole concept of traffic comes through, right? So once you've been findable, the next step in business is to build relationships, right? Building relationships doesn't mean necessarily that something has to be going on in real time for you to build that relationship, right? So in real time, building relationships, what I mean by that is like, this is building relationships in real time. You're here, I'm here, I'm in real time. I'm not an avatar here right now. Yeah, like you know, this is not like me, robot. Yeah, like I'm physically here in real time. I've come, sat at my desk, I'm in real time, right? That's me building relationships. So you guys, you're here in real time. Yeah, in real time is like when I do like my 5-day events, it's in real time, right? They are not evergreened. That's me in real time pouring out to my community, right? And them absorbing and learning, and we're building relationship, right? So those are in real time understandings of what you can do to build relationships, but you can also build relationships in a way which is evergreen, which doesn't require you to be there to build the relationship, right? And so this is a beautiful technique that I teach in the Business Academy. And that is where you can have a beautiful piece of training that you create, right? And I think it's the best lead magnet. Some of you might have heard that terminology before. Lead magnet means basically something free that you want to give to people for them to understand what you do, who you are, how you help, right? And you can have a lead magnet on a variety of things. It could be a checklist, an ebook, or whatever. I just believe if you could get a training together, right, which you know, and in the academy there's a whole section on that. For those of you in the academy, you can go there and you can look at it, right, which breaks down how to strategically map out something like that. But you can evergreen, meaning record that and have that available and running on automation, right, 365 days of the year. Yeah. Or actually, when I do that strategy, I run it 364 days of the year, because I don't run it on Christmas Day. I just think that looks weird. But I just, I just have it running majority of the year. And people can find me whenever they find me. And they, you can simulate it as if live as well. You can do things like that, or you don't have to. You could do like a 24-hour watch pass or things like that. But you could have an evergreen strategy where people can come across your information while you are out at the cinema, out at the park, out shopping, out on holiday, like doing your thing, that people can come across you, understand who you are, and understand what the next step of your thing is, right? And so this is where you can have an ability to build relationship that is still then building a relationship with you, but you are not there. You are not required to be there to build that relationship and understanding in that way. And I just think that video or audio is a real way to kind of elevate that. Often, like with ebooks and stuff, people get them, put them down, pick them up, put them down, checklists, downloads, and all of that stuff. They kind of just get pushed to the side. But I just think there's a real value in having that evergreen. And so anything evergreen does require some upfront work, like it doesn't start evergreen, right? There's going to be an in real life element of you doing the thing to put it together, but it can really add a lot to your business. And I talk about this because those are the steps to business, right? It's know what you're here to do, right? Be findable, build relationships. And what does that then lead to? Boosting revenue, right? There's the natural 4 steps. And each of those steps, obviously, there's things to dial in and understand and really, hone in, right, to get them right. But that is it, right? There's 4 steps of business, right, to go from where you are to where you want to get to. Yeah. And so it's around that part of the traffic of new people finding you is really important. And that's where just having a website is not enough. Just posting on social media with however many followers you have, and is not enough, right? And yes, okay, you could do hashtags and try and get into people's things and all of those things. But then, like we heard earlier, right, what comes with that, if you are relying on yourself to just be this dancing bear, right, that I have to, dance in order to get paid, you know what I mean, right? Yeah, or show up or whatever, right? It's exhausting, right? And so it can be really helpful to bring your business at some stage with an evergreen strategy, that you are not required to be there, showing up, doing the thing, right? The other thing as well is just, we spoke about this a few maybe weeks or months ago. I did a session on time management, and maybe I'll talk about that again in terms of how you can manage your calendar more effectively to be able to create the content that you do want to put out there, so that you don't feel the exhaustion and you can manage those levels. But it really is important to recognize that web presence is important. And so when you are creating a website, right, or web presence, that web page, there's certain web pages that I would say are important to have. So what's a web page versus a website, right? So just an overview. So website is when you see, like, you go on a website and you'll have little tabs at the top, right? I can go to about section, I can go to what the offerings are, I can go to this, like there's little tabs at the top, there's a top bar, right? That's what a website is, right? Now, each one of those sections are called web pages, right? And a web page doesn't necessarily have to exist with a whole website, right? And so you could have a web page, right, which could be a registration page to sign up for this evergreen masterclass, for example, right? That could be really effective if you have an effective strategy to drive traffic to that, right? And that is also optimized to be able to take people to the next step of whether buy the thing or look at the thing or book a call or whatever you wanted to do to take them on to the next, right? And so you could have one highly effective web page, right, which can do all the things and then build the website around that. Yeah, even if you was to have a website, or if you currently have a website, really looking at your website and being like, when people come here, are they just faced with a whole load of information, or have I got options for them to sign up for things, for them to really understand how I work, right? What I do, how I work, and what that's about. And so that's really, really important to think about as well. Yeah. So it's really about ensuring that when you are creating your website or web page or web pages, that they are optimized to speak to your ideal audience as well. What type of language are you using? What language do they use in their around their challenges? What languages do they use around where they want to get to, right? Really specific language that really connects and converts, right? And you want to be looking at as well, what's really important is looking at the data. I always talk about data versus drama, right? You know, often entrepreneurs can make things up in their head of like, oh, this isn't working, or, you know, this isn't happening. And it's like, okay, let's like look at real figures of what's taking place and how well does your web page convert, right? How well does the masterclass convert? How well does, and we look at statistics and data. I'm big on data. I'm a psychologist by background, and I was one of the, you know, the ones that love the data part, right? Yeah, I love data, right? So we want to look at the data, not the drama of what your head's making up around what's happening and what is actually really happening, and use that information to be able to optimize as well, because it does also come down to numbers at the end of the day as well, right? Statistically, what is happening with your marketing presence, with your systems, with how you are operating, right? And we can work that out, and that's what we want to dial into. So you create a marketing system, a business system, and that is also going to reduce the exhaustion, right? So really, really important with that. So that's really important. The other thing is to remember that as well, that whether it's your website or whether it's your social medias platforms, or however you're visible, right? How are you talking, and what can they understand within the first few seconds of them landing in your space, right? What can they understand in the first few seconds of them landing in your space? Does it take them longer than a few seconds to know who you are, what you do, and how you help? Right? And if it does, you've lost them, right? So really ensuring that you are creating a way that is powerfully converting and understanding, like, what do they need to do next? Now they're landed in your space, what would they need to do next to gain a greater understanding and build that relationship? Now they've got to be findable. How have you moved them to building relationships, right? So it's really, really important. So that's what I have, you know, for myself and for businesses that I am around that really succeed and you know, with great level of success, where they are soul nourished and profitable, right? Is where they incorporate an element, a layer of marketing, right? A layer of marketing that can work while they are sleeping, right? A layer of marketing that can work while they are asleep. Yeah, that doesn't mean you fully lean your business over to that. That can come with its own issues by doing that, and I could do a whole nother episode on that as well. But that is important part of your business as well, that you don't always have to be performing in order for your business to move forward and work, right? So that's kind of my general kind of gist around it. The other thing I want to share as well is website, right? So let's have a little look here. And I'm going to be doing a session on this in more detail next week, Tuesday. So mark your calendars. at 2 p.m. UK time. We'll send an email out, right? But this is the new Dr. Tilean website, right? So again, in a few seconds, right? Wellbeing practitioners and established coaches and consultants, scale your coaching and consulting business, rise up, soul nourishing, profitable, lean into your destiny. In a few seconds, they're invited to the free evergreen training, right? So it's just giving you an idea, yeah, of how they can come in. There's different things that they can go into in order to be able to take a next step, right? Business roundtable, business audit, right? Training here. Yeah. And so, you know, the session I'm doing next week is around, this is powered by a system called High Level, right? And this has been created on the High Level system, right? And which can create websites. And we have now created the Soul Success Business System, right? Which is powered by High Level, which is an all-in-one marketing platform, website builder, course builder, right? It can do websites, website pages, blog posts, right? It can host your domain, so your www. It can hold different funnels, so landing pages, and you can host your videos and your downloads and email sequence. You can email from it. You can do your payment gateways from it. You can host your membership site on it with logins. You can track the people in your database and where they are and what they do. You know, it can do calendar management. It can send text messages. It can have group chat. It has a mobile app. It's very comprehensive. It does analytics, where I like data and not drama, right? You know, and there's so many other things that it can do, right? You know, and so I'm going to do a whole discussion on this on Tuesday at 2 p.m. on this system, because having yourself an all-in-one system where you're not over here, and have 10 million things that are necessary in order to run your business forward, but then feels exhausting because you feel like you're pulled from pillar to post with all these different systems going everywhere, not really sure how to even maneuver, is going to really help your business, right? And so that's something that we're going to be bringing out for the opportunity for people to be able to have that all-in-one system and that support to be able to build out that system or transport whatever 1,000,001 systems you have into one place, right? For probably less than what you're investing in the variety of systems that you have as well. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. But it's around, you know, it's really important to bring yourself and your business to a place where you are showing up with a strategic mind, right? Of does it make sense? Like, is there a flow? Is there a rhythm of flow? When somebody lands here, what happens here? What happens here? What happens here? Right? There's got to be a flow. When somebody lands on my website, right? What happens here? What happens here? What happens here? What happens here? If somebody lands on my Instagram, what happens here, 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 here? When they land in my Facebook group, here, here. What is the pathway, right? What is the pathway? You should have a clear, be able to have in your business clear standard operating procedures developed around, like, this is what happens when. Right? This is what happens when. Literally, you want to think about your business as being able to build a system that changes lives, right? Your business should be able to be systemized in a way that it changes lives. And building that is work, guys. It is work, right? I'm not going to kind of beat around the bush and say that it's not work, but it is work. But if you are focused and disciplined, and you can enjoy life and be really soul nourished while you do it, right? You know, but you've got to create discipline and focus time to be able to, like, you know, I'm going to pour into building this system and optimizing the system and looking at it and being like, okay, cool, this part works. What about this part? Okay, this part works. What about this part? This part works. What about this part? This part works, right? You know, the other day, it reminds me, like, I was watching the film about McDonald's. I think it's called The Founder, right? And they were talking about that when they put the McDonald's system together of, like, how do we get, like, from no burger to a burger in 30 seconds? And it was like, you know, we've got to have the bun there and the ketchup there and the mustard, and then it's got to go there and flip the burger and da-da-da, we've got to have this at this temperature and da-da-da, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to think about, like, how your business is systemized with a system. Like, there's processes, all of that does come together. And this is definitely the focus of our retreat. I host a retreat. It's in October. And that's the focus on, like, we're going to be optimizing systems there and looking at what people's systems are for their business or a particular system and optimizing that. But that's what is necessary. It's about building out systematic approach. So I hope, there's so many directions I could have covered in terms of website, web presence, what is important. But I think it's very important to ensure that when people come across you, they are able to learn about who you are and how you can help very quickly and easily. And that translates into them being able to either go to a sales page, which is optimized to convert to the sales, right? And you'll know that through your data, or that it takes them through to booking a call, and that call is optimized to taking them into the program, and you'll know that by looking at your data, right? Or you take them through to an event, and that event is optimized, and you know that by looking at your data, right? There's a common word coming up here, right? Data. Yeah. And so, but it's around recognizing, like, what are my pages? Where am I taking them to? Am I looking at the data? Am I optimizing the data? And how in the first place do I bring these people to these pages? And you can do that with either finances, so money, right? So marketing spend, and is normally the preferred word, right? Also visibility, right? Being visible in front of where your audience is, right? So bringing the audience to where you are, where you're showing up, and you bringing yourself to where the audience already exists and showing up, right? And also you can do that as well through paid advertising. Again, something which I also cover in the academy. Okay.